Hmm. So is it fair then to say that a disruptor is actually someone who seizes a moment, realizes that, okay, what we regard as normal might no longer be possible, and have to start developing new ways to create a new normal? Is it fair to look at a disruptor like that rather than somebody who comes and just messes things up?
I think you've captured it pretty very well. I mean, from, like I said, from an optimist's perspective, and not just an optimist, from especially the outcome of that disruption is something positive. I mean, like that, the word disruptor has always been mostly used in the negative sense. So it's mostly, it's attached with, like you mentioned, either destruction or messing something up, but we know that to create something new, you probably have to tweak or meddle or sort of destroy, some bits of the old. And so disruptors in that way, are here to stay. And actually, it's good that they're being recognized because, that's the way that any industry and human beings as well, would be able to keep evolving. We need more disruptors for the good. And so, yes, you're right. The way you've captured what I would describe as a disruptor, that's perfectly right.
And just to put this into some kind of perspective, DJ Blox, I mean, even while I was doing a little bit of research before this talk of ours, I realized that even big record companies like Virgin Records are actually now having discussions, just as you and I are having now, about disruptors and what they can do, how they can create a new normal from whatever chaos that they are living in right now. And you mentioned some of those parties that you've had. I attended a party recently that was organized from Canada. There were people from the United States, people from Nigeria, people from all over the world. What's one of the most disruptive things that you have done recently, whether with your music or somewhere else?
Right. Very interesting. Like I said, I'm one who I embrace that concept of disruption, especially for the good. And a very good, probably a good example I can give you of what I've been doing. Yes, I'm involved in the moment that I probably will class as a disruption. Because when we started all these online gigs, like the virtual gigs and Instagram and the rest, one of the things that quickly became clear was that the platforms weren't actually built for the purpose of DJs streaming their music live, via Instagram or Facebook. So one of the things that suffered the most was the sound fidelity. So most times when you listen to these Instagram gigs and the rest, you would actually, I mean, many people tend to switch up a lot of times because it just sounds like one hollow room and music is playing, and you're not getting that same feel of if you were there. So very quickly I picked up on that, and I was thinking of how could this be improved on. And thankfully, somewhere, chance has a way of getting people together. I managed to meet this young man who runs an electronics company, and I was discussing this with him, and he told me that he was also thinking along those lines. So we both joined up, and we've developed a prototype which allows you to use your phone as the interface to stream your gig and still maintain the sound fidelity. We've tested this product. I currently use it. It's in its prototype, and it's about to go into production. So getting such a product out that allows DJs very easily, and not for so much money, be able to plug in something made for the DJ, to support what they're doing. So that excites me. I would class that as a disruption, because it's no longer the norm to just put your speakers up and face the phone on it and just blast the music, and all sorts of, poor quality sound comes through. So you're able to do something different. So yeah, so I'm excited. So probably that's my claim to, that disruptor badge.
Yeah, but in all honesty, DJ Blox, you and I, we talk fairly regularly. And, when people talk about DJs, obviously the DJ is the person who creates a feel-good vibe when you go to a party or you go to a nightclub, or the person you go and meet to and you say, can you make some mixes for me to play at my own leisure? But you have also started something very interesting. A conversation you and I had a couple of weeks ago, and you were telling me about how you were using DJing to create an awareness about the coronavirus, and you're actually working with a health group. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because for me, it was the first time I was hearing that.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's amazing what kind of like things like events like pandemics and all these life-changing events. What they can cost to one. Basically, like I mentioned, going through a pandemic, with lots of losses of lives and uncertainty and so many things going on. What comes to mind is, people are kind of like, they're looking for something to hold on to, to keep the hope alive, and, something to just keep them in a positive place, because so much negative news going on. I mean, we're very much aware that things are not really great, but, we understand equally about the mental awareness aspect, your mental health awareness. And when I started the Instagram live gig, I started it on the basis of trying to, keep community in a positive place, because I know the power of music and what it can do in terms of, sort of like our mental health. So that's how I started playing. And I was approached by a medical healthcare company who had seen a couple of my gigs, and they mentioned about their interest and how they were so happy with what I was doing with regards to mental health awareness. And the company's Outpost Healthcare, just a group of medical doctors who kind of like, like doctors from overseas kind of thing, focused on Africa, particularly Nigeria, Ghana, the West Coast, basically. And they just shared their vision with me, and they asked if it was possible for us to do some collaboration together, where they would offer free medical advice, and support for people through this period. And on the other hand, my platform where I play these live gigs will be a way of the outreach, to get to the grassroots. So it was a perfect, marriage made in heaven, put it that way. And on the other hand, they brought me in on their advisory board, which was quite an honor as well. So we're currently still working together every Saturday. We use that platform as an outreach form, play some good music. They connect with people. They offer their app, free download of their app. So it's something that I'm pretty happy about. And these circumstances, you find opportunities as well to to serve and to give back to the community.
Absolutely, and these opportunities actually can come from outside your area of specialization. And I have seen some of the work you guys have been doing, and it's actually very brilliant work. Just before we round up, DJ Blox, what advice would you have for an up and coming DJ or somebody in a different sphere, in a different field, who wants to be a disruptor?
Yeah, I think, like I said from the onset, is something to embrace. You know, forever the optimist in me. I think in the midst of every storm, there's always something good that will come out of it. So wherever we find ourselves, and I'm talking generally here, I'm just speaking generally, wherever we find ourselves in the middle of a pandemic and stuff, it might be time to reflect, you know, and probably get your head in order, you know, and think things through again, things you've been doing in a particular way, ways you could probably do things better, and, you know, just pick up inspiration from around you. And I think quiet times are probably the most creative times. So I would advise, you know, the young, or not just generally the young ones, anyone who actually feels like they want to be a game changer, you know, or a change agent, you know, always be bold about, you know, taking a step to try something, you know, to do something in a different way, but with the mindset of improving it. And if you make mistakes, so be it, but just you have to give it a go. So most things that we see around us, most inventions, they didn't come out of just a first chance attempt, you know. So failure is not really what, you know, we call failure. Is when you stop attempting to get things better, that's when you failed. But if something hasn't worked the first time, you keep trying. So that would be my general advice. So disruptors, disruptions, embrace with all hands. And yeah, that's what I would say.
DJ Blox, DJ, disruptor, now health advocate. Always great talking to you, sir. Thank you very much, man.
Thank you, Mr. Peter.